Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So in today update, Tanu is going to tell Pragya that Ahbi rape her, that make Pragya shock. So make sure you watch the video till the end to find out more, and subscribe to this channel, and click on the notification bell to get notified for more updates like this. Alia apologizes to Ahbi for her bad thinking and says I am sorry bye. She asks if I give respect to Pragya, regard her as your wife and Ria's mother, then will you not forgive me, and will ask me to go? She says if this is the case then a brother is changed, more than the sister. She says you had thrown me out of your life long back and now you are asking me to leave from your home. She apologizes to him and asks him to forgive her for their parents and Ria. Dadi comes there and asks Ahbi to forgive Alia. She says Pragya will never ask Alia to go and asks Ahbi to let her stay here. Ahbi says he don't want to forgive her, but you can stay here. He says you have to stay here with Pragya, so don't give me a chance again that I don't listen to Pragya or Dadi. Pragya gets a call from Bindia, who tells that Prachi agreed to get married to the guy. Pragya asks Prachi, who tells that she wants to marry, as her other daughter is marrying. Pragya is shocked and calls Bindia, tells that she don't want Prachi to marry now. Sarita Behen comes there. Pragya tells her everything and tells that something is wrong surely. Sarita Behen asks her to smile as Ahbi will be coming in sometime. Just then doorbell rings. Pragya smiles and opens the door. She looks at Ahbi and gets emotional. Ahbi also gets emotional. Ala Warrian plays. Pragya takes him inside. Ahbi asks shall I return? Pragya asks why. Ahbi asks why are you crying then? Pragya says I thought if you don't come. Ahbi says I couldn't get you the right and respect which you deserve in my family. He says due to our separation, our daughters had suffered. He says when I don't get sleep in the nights, I used to understand that you was crying. Pragya says then why you get to sleep? Ahbi says when you stopped crying. He says we will not talk about past and tells that all the family members want you to return in my life, as Pragya. He says he has thrown Tanu out. Pragya says you did right, my attention would have been on you, as Tanu might be staring. He says he did wrong then. He says now she will get everything on interest. Pragya says even she is bringing a daughter with her. Sarita Behen makes them taste the sweets. Ahbi asks Sarita Behen if she will send her daughter with him. Sarita Behen says yes. Ahbi says he don't want to thank her as the word will be very small for her. Sarita Behen asks him to fulfill his duty and don't make tears come in Pragya's eyes. Ahbi promises her that he will just love her and will make her sit on his lap, more than her. He asks where is Prachi? Pragya says she has gone to office. Sarita Behen does their aarti and gives her blessings. She asks them to be happy and asks them to go. Pragya hugs Sarita Behen. Sarita Behen asks them to go. They go out of the house. Sarita Behen looks at them with teary eyes and happiness. They leave. She turns and finds the diya set off. She thinks this is a bad omen. Vikram talks to someone and then upsets with Ranbir for not doing the project. Ranbir says he will do. Prachi says I will leave. Vikram says my son had promised me that he will not sleep until he finishes the work, but when I went to his room, he was heavily drunk and was sleeping. Ranbir says he will do the work. Vikram asks Prachi to ask why he has attitude and arrogance. Prachi asks Vikram not to get angry. Vikram says yes, what will be difference between us then? He asks him to do the work and call him sir. Ranbir says yes sir. He asks Prachi to go. Sarita Behen thinks how will I stay without Pragya, and Prachi thinks Shahana will trouble her. She thinks to watch TV and hears riots happening in the city. She thinks to call Pragya first. She calls Pragya and asks where is she. Pragya says we have just reached home and your partner opened the door. Dadi opens the door while Mitali brings Kailash. Ahbi calls her on video call and asks her to see Pragya's Gra Pravesh. Dadi congratulates Sarita Behen. Alia brings the aarti plate. Mitali takes Ahbi's phone and asks her to hold Pragya's hand. Ahbi asks Alia to do their aarti. Pragya is surprised. Alia does their aarti and apply the tilak. Mitali keeps the Kailash. Dadi asks Pragya to kick the Kailash and gets inside the home. Mitali asks, can you see everything properly? Sarita Behen says yes. Mitali brings colored water and keeps in front of Pragya. Pragya steps on it and walks inside. She walks inside. Dadi smiles, while Alia feigns fake smile. Mitali asking Sarita Behen if she saw everything. Sarita Behen says yes and blesses them. Ahbi says love you. Alia apologizes to Pragya and tells that she will not do any mistake again. Pragya asks her to forget everything so that they can make new memories. She asks her to look forward to the new memories. Mitali also apologizes to Pragya. Pragya forgives her and says we will talk about future and not about past. She says he made everything fine and we will talk about only good things. Dadi asks Pragya to come and sit. Alia says she had brought gift for her and asks her to stay back. Mitali says I forgot to bring from market. Dadi says no problem, give it tomorrow. Vikram calls Ahbi. Ahbi picks the call and says hello Vicky. Vikram says I am Vikram and tells that don't know what has happened to Ranbir, he couldn't work for the event and was boxing all night. Ahbi says I will talk to Junaja and tells that he is happy, as his wife is back. He asks him to show some passion and then asks him to show attitude in limits. Vikram smiles. Ahbi comes to Pragya. Dadi asks Mitali to come with her. Pragya asks Ahbi to promise her that they will stay together as a family. Ahbi says I have to go to office for some time and says matter is big, I have to cover up for Ranbir's mistake. He says Ranbir and Ria had some problem and the former was boxing all night, and couldn't do the work. He says even he used to do boxing when she was away from him. Pragya asks him to return soon. Ahbi says I will come soon as she came back after a long time. He goes. Dadi and Mitali come back to Pragya. Dadi says we will make Pragya light the diyar in the temple. Prachi asks Ranbir to have coffee. Ranbir refuses to have coffee and asks her to go. He turns and the coffee falls on his suit. Prachi says sorry and wipes the coffee stain from his suit. Janasar song plays. He says you are good. Actually you are too good. I don't understand that you don't want to be with me and not let me go away from you. He asks what do you want? Prachi says I was cleaning the coffee. Ranbir says I don't like your fake concern. Prachi asks what did I do? Ranbir says didn't you know and says he can't concentrate on work and is suffering losses because of her. He asks her to stay away from him and goes. Prachi picks the fallen coffee cup. Ria comes there. Prachi says I was about to go. Ria says you look good while doing this. Ranbir thinks Prachi will stay away from him. Ria tells that mom is shifting to our house. She says I know that you will come home with her, and says if she feels neglected then will complain to Ahbi. She tells that dad will kick her out then. Prachi asks her not to do this. Ria reminds her not to do mistake. Prachi says I didn't forget our deal. Ranbir comes and asks what deal. Pragya does arti. Ahbi comes there and tells that he couldn't go due to daddy's face. Dadi says I know well, you might have stopped due to Pragya. Ahbi says I came back as I thought riots are happening. Pragya asks him to stay back and tells that he is going to change his clothes. He asks Pragya to select clothes for him. Pragya says she is coming. Dadi tells Pragya that Ahbi is very happy, I am very afraid, if my sight falls on him. Pragya says nothing will happen. Just then Tanu comes there and asks Pragya what did she think that she can snatch her house from her. Pragya says he has thrown you out from here many times and asks her to leave before Ahbi returns. Tanu asks her to call Ahbi. Pragya says he don't want to see you, just now I did arti and tells that she will do it again after she throws her out. Tanu says she has called police. Pragya says I have taken police and NGO help as I am his wife. She asks with which right, you are here and threatens to get her arrested for Kyara's death. Ahbi comes downstairs and asks Tanu why did she come. Tanu says justice. She says if you think that I came to get my rights or to stay here, then you are wrong. Pragya says I am not thinking of this. Tanu says you have done one mistake and calls inspector. She asks inspector to arrest Abhishek Prem Mehra. Pragya asks what did he do. Tanu asks her to ask Ahbi and says he remembers everything. Pragya asks what did he do. Tanu says he raped me. Pragya is shocked. Ranbir asks Prachi and Ria about their deal. He says just like I know about your equation with her, you people can't deal. Ria says Prachi is shifting to our house, so I was warning her not to interfere in my room or life. She says it is like promises. Ranbir says Prachi likes to break the promise or deal. Ria says do you think that I will let her break the deal and says it can be problematic for her. Prachi goes. Ria asks him to come out with her. Ranbir says he has much work and all the night, he has to work. Ria says we will plan some other day. She goes. Ranbir finds the anklet of Prachi and picks it. Janasar song plays. Pragya tells Inspector that Tanu is lying and taking out frustration as she is kicked out. Tanu says she has proofs and tells that she was called here with respect, but she was raped one day prior to their wedding. Dadi tries to make Alia realize her mistake. Alia says I had brought her, but I didn't know about her hidden agenda at that time. She says I didn't know that you are so cheap. Tanu says really, and tells that until I was listening to you, I was not cheap. Alia tells that Tanu changes husbands for her advantage and is doing character assassination of Bai. Tanu asks Alia, didn't you ask me to get closer to Ahbi and seduce him? Alia says yes, I told. Pragya and Ahbi are shocked. Thanks for watching till the end. Make sure you subscribe, and click on the notification bell to get notified for more updates like this.
Fearless.